I love
Thank you.
that. Yeah.
Thank you. So I just want to work on being a master knitter.
There we go.
I have a ways to
Awesome.
go.
Oh, well, welcome. We're a couple minutes before 5, but I started the recording and here we are. And Bev was giving us a little update, some ups and downs over there, but the upside is a little more time for knitting, which we love.
Very upside.
Mm-hmm. How are you, Julia and Mona?
Oh, not bad. I've been finishing things. I've been working my way through some of the boxes I've had shipped to me on the West Coast from the East Coast. And Bev, I will tell you, I had to clear away my mother's quilting stash.
Oh,
And I found a woman, this was like 6 years ago. And there was a woman in Rockland who had just retired, whose stated goals in life were time with the grandkids, helping
Good.
her husband, and quilting for charity. And she had a long-armed quilt machine, so she traded us. She finished some of the quilts my mother had left unquilted because the quilting was never her big love. The piecing was what she loved. And so she finished, I don't know, 8 or 10 quilts for us.
Beautiful.
And in return, she took away 9 carloads full of my mother's fabric.
Beautiful.
2 of those carloads were actually her husband's lobster truck with the back of it full of fabric.
Oh my gosh.
So I feel for you. And I kept very little of the fabric, and my brother kept even less, which is kind of amazing because he keeps and keeps. But this week I found a box labeled doll clothes. And I opened it up, and there are cutout pieces for a Barbie wardrobe.
Oh,
That she never finished for me because she said, "Oh, you've outgrown it," which I hadn't really, but anyway. And now I'm trying to decide if I have the patience to fiddle with my not really great sewing machine to try to finish those for my granddaughter who adores Barbie.
Oh, nice. Yes.
I think I want to try because I think I want to not let that effort be wasted.
Exactly.
So,
Beautiful.
yeah. If you don't clean it out, somebody else does. That's just the way of it.
Indeed.
That's the way. Yep.
Sooner would be better than later. But thank you.
Well, nice to see Mary Ellen and Teresa. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a little while since we've seen you, Mary Ellen and Mortola.
Yes, I've been traveling again. I went to Mongolia, which is the home of cashmere.
Oh,
what? Oh my God. Tell us everything.
Really wonderful, very interesting, lovely people. You know, I brought home some little trinkets. This is from the people that herd reindeer, and they carve on the bones and whatever. Yeah, that was kind of a fun thing. They had some really interesting jewelry, you know, just
wow,
made. And then of course I had to buy, and this is cashmere. This was a like a blanket, and it's so soft. So yeah. And I did buy some yarn. I don't have that right here with me now, but I bought a little bit of yarn because everything was gorgeous, you know, all the scarves, and I did buy a sweater. So yeah, that was great. And the other fun thing is I rode a 2-humped camel, and they're indigenous to Mongolia. You just can't find them anywhere else. So it was fun. It was really fun.
Was this a fiber oriented trip or just was a trip
No.
and of course there was fiber?
No,
Yeah.
this was just it's a company called Overseas Adventure Travel, and they go all over the world. So a friend of mine had actually picked this trip, and then she had to cancel. So I figured, oh, what the heck? I'll just go and see what it is, and it was really fun, really fun.
Good.
That's amazing. I'm so excited that you did that.
Yeah, I recommend it. You know, it was just beautiful city. I'm still not pronouncing it correctly. Ulaanbaatar, and so we made that our headquarters, and then we took trips for like 3 days to different places, including the Gobi Desert. That was the big highlight.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fabulous. World traveler right here. Well, next time you come, please bring the yarns for show and tell because we all
I
want to
will.
see them. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Cool. Well, I'm super excited. I have to show and tell something. Oh my gosh, it's Gwen and Teresa in the car. Look at you girls.
We're almost home.
Oh my gosh.
We're on the throughway and we saw a tech stop and we went, let's stop and pop on and say hi.
Hello, our remote goats on the road. Oh my gosh. Well, these gals were just in our shop and it was awesome to visit with you guys at our Finish Along Sunday. So yeah, thanks for hopping in here.
Yeah, we had fun. We had a great
awesome.
time on Sunday. It was nice.
So,
thank you for letting us be included in your group.
Oh, it was a pleasure. It was so much fun to have the two worlds collide, the remote and the in-person goats. Big meetup.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So good. And you guys had a fun week with lots of fun things here in Maine, huh?
We did. Yep. And now we're almost home and getting back to then finishing things at home.
Well, we'll definitely catch you on the next call and we'll see what you finished in 2 weeks too.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan. I like that.
Where's home?
Where's home? Oh, it's I live in a small town called Pine Bush.
Okay.
In New York. It's in the Hudson Valley. And Gwen is in a town called Plattekill. So
Okay.
it's just the New Paltz, sort of across the river from Poughkeepsie. Those are like the big places, right? It was good to be up there. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I loved it. Loved hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, it was fun. Yep. So we're gonna hit the road again, but we want to stop in and say hi.
Well,
hi, everyone.
Such a cool surprise. We'll have safe travels home and enjoy sleeping in your own beds again.
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely.
that's a plus for sure.
You guys have a good night.
Yeah,
have fun together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Gosh. Bye. Oh my gosh, so cool. Okay, what I was about to share, and this is, I resisted this for a while, but I'm going to pin myself. But I could only resist for so long. I sprung for the color card deck. And I've just been looking at it in the shop for so long, and I've been thinking about it. We've been talking about maybe doing some classes, and one of them being maybe like working with color theory a little bit as we think about color work in our knits. But sometimes the color wheel for me personally and I went to art school many years ago and, made an original color wheel, mixing colors, all that. But sometimes the commercial color wheels can feel a little bit busy and overwhelming to me when I'm trying to really hone in on I want to understand okay, I've got this color and how will it play with some other colors? It's just too hard for my eyes to parse everything out. So it's it's cards. So you get a card with all these, different shades, different tints, different tones. And then on the back of each card, there's all this information about sort of working with color. So it'll give you the info about so split complementary is one of the sort of really popular ways to use colors. Andrea Mowry is a big fan of that, where you kind of look at the complementary color, let's say of this one, opposite the color wheel from it. And then you look on either side of the color for some potential ones. So like that one is here, right here. Anyway, so I've just been nerding out about this deck for so long, and I was like, no, I just really don't need that much. And then I was like, no, I really want it. So I finally got it. And the cool part is it does come with this whole really like kind of in-depth, you know, you get all the colors in the deck and they all have their numbers and everything. And you do get like the traditional color wheel, and you get some explanation about value and neutrals, and kind of like breakdown of the back of the card. Oh geez, I have to turn off my blurry. Oh, there we go. So there's a lot of information, and I just thought, you know what? If nothing else, it would be great to keep in my knitting bag, and when I'm at work, I can, you know, as I'm helping folks, this could be a really good resource for us to just, you know, spread some cards out on the table. So, yay.
Cool.
Yes, yay.
Oh, Mona, are you muted still? If you hover your mouse to the bottom of your screen, weird, because in Zoom, I feel like I have the ability to unmute someone as the host, but I don't know if I can do that. Okay. So Mona, nothing at the bottom of your screen if you like hover your mouse over there. No? Are you on like a mobile device or computer? No? Okay. Weird. Wish I could unmute you. Okay, well, let me see. Anybody else have a little update?
I do.
Yeah, Mary Ellen Mulhern, let's hear it.
Well, I think I said on the last one, I might start this bear. The bear is done, but he has no clothes yet. He needs clothes. So I'm working on the clothes. But I just think he's the cutest thing. And this is the Susan B. Anderson. It's very similar to sock knitting. The pattern's called Good Bear. This is like doing the heel flap.
Oh wow, interesting.
And there's not many stitches on the needles, like, so that goes fairly quickly, but she keeps saying don't stuff it too much, don't stuff it too much. And so here's the pants, but they're I'm not finished them yet. And then
oh my gosh,
a jacket. There's a sweater, which I didn't start, but this is the jacket, which it has this really nice collar that goes around the neck. Anyway, it's cute, but it's fiddly.
Yeah, cute and fiddly, but oh my gosh, hold the bear up again. He's just so darn adorable. Do you feel like, God, his little face? Did you say that you put the face on first? Like, is that right? No,
not first. No, you make you make the do all the knitting, but then you make a spot, like you can whenever you put something else on, you make a purl stitch. That's how you know where to go back in.
Oh my God, perfect.
The face, no. This part I had to do myself. I mean, she kind of says just make straight lines, and so that's just, I used embroidery. Well, no, thread came with it, the black. And then she gives you these eyes that are, you know, I don't like them though. I just did I made French knots for the eyes.
Okay, perfect.
But this was all fairly easy. I mean, she does give very good instructions. And anyway, and I couldn't put it down. And I haven't worked on anything like that lately. Everything's just, so I kind of got me juiced up again. But this week I've been busy, and now so that's why the clothes are all just waiting. I will get back to them.
I love this guy. It's so cute.
I just think it's really fun. He's 8 inches tall.
Okay. So sweet.
Yeah.
And what size needles were you working on? Because you said they were pretty small, right?
Yes. She did it on a 4, but I got gauge on a 2, so I used a 2.
Ooh.
But my measurements came out to what it was supposed to be, so that's okay. But then when I went to make the pants or the jacket, that seemed too tight, so I went up another needle size, and I might even go up another needle size.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends. Like, you can't overstuff it. That's one thing. And you stuff it as you go, though. Like, you do the legs and you stuff them. Then you do the other part and you stuff that. And you leave this part not stuffed. I just think he's so cute. I wish I could make them faster.
He's adorable. Okay, what can I take a screenshot of you holding the bear up, because it's just so adorable. Okay, let's do this.
Is that good?
Yeah, it's perfect. Okay, get ready with your smile. So cute. Okay, thank you for that. So darn cute. Oh my gosh. Wow, that is awesome. And I was just thinking too about how a project like that, it's a different construction, right? And that's really sort of like mentally stimulating and interesting. And so I think that that's probably a really good thing to remember, like when we maybe feel a little bit about our project, is like try something different where it's like, oh, it's going to be a little surprise with every step of the way. And so fun. What a cutie. And this is for a grandchild, is that right?
Niece or nephew, probably.
Okay, niece or nephew. Awesome. Mary Ellen Mortola, did you have a question?
Well, I just wanted to comment on that because I've made a couple of animals that Susan Anderson, right? It's Susan Anderson. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that from her patterns, I think I've made a witch for Halloween and a snowman. So I love her patterns, her little kits and everything. They're very much fun.
I found it really fun, just fun.
That is awesome.
You do have to like double pointed needles, though. You could do some of it with magic loop, but some, like the arms, that there's so few stitches on there. No, you really need to do the
other. Cool. Anybody else want to update us on anything? Progress, knitting, other crafty things, or just whatever? Yeah, Julia.
Well, I have been fairly busy with my knits, and I did finish the shawl that I said I'd finish in July, although there's the right side of it. I still have to finish some ends, but those are just ends.
Beautiful.
So there is the Hug Shot by Casapinka.
Hug Shot. Mm-hmm.
And I finished the 2 hats that I'd put on the needles back in May. So this is Susan Bates Everglades.
Whoa.
Isn't that fun? And I love the blue. I really do. And then for a total change of color pace, this is the one for Bryce Canyon in Utah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's not the easiest chart to follow, just because of the way the colors on the chart don't necessarily match some of the colors in the hat, and because these two colors are rather close together.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So visually
beautiful.
that was a challenge, but it is done. So
Woohoo.
I've made progress, and I've been trying to figure out if the little baby sweater that I'm working on right now was started before we started the knit along or not, and I can't remember. So that's just a cuff for the front,
Mm-hmm.
and I have more pieces, but I have to wiggle to get to them. Ouch. I'm out on the deck and the chair isn't stable.
Oh dear.
Yeah, must be careful. So it's a Lion Brand company pattern because this was some yarn of theirs that I inherited from a friend who stopped knitting. And honestly, the back was basically a dishcloth with some ribbing at the bottom. And then this is one of the fronts. And you see it has this fun little inset pocket that I'll be sewing down. So I'm making good progress on this. And I had the directions for the piece of this I was working on so firmly in my head, where I was supposed to knit 8 inches of it, that I transposed that into another baby sweater that I'm also making and knit 8 inches of something where I only needed 4.5.
Oh.
So last night I spent some time in the frog pond.
Ah. Oh, I like that. Spend some time in the frog ponds. Well, I love your hats and love the shawl. If you want to, I would love to see a photo of your finished shawl too. If you want to send that along, maybe I could share that in one of the emails.
Oh, thank you. I will try to do that this afternoon when the sun is hitting the back of the couch for light.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm 3 hours behind you, so that time is yet to come here.
Yeah, no rush on it. No rush. We're here in Maine. We are having finally like my favorite weather after a whole summer worth of humid, and now it's like gorgeous and 73 degrees and no humidity and blue sky, and it just feels, it gives me a new lease on life and enjoyment of I don't know, just doing things. It's just a little depressing when it's so miserable.
Life is easier. And today it's nice here, but we had that same type of miserable weather for 3 weeks. So I wouldn't have been out on the deck for a lot of those days.
Yeah. Aw. Well, hi, Judy. Nice to see you.
I'm a little late today.
That's okay. We're glad you're here.
I envy your weather.
Yeah. Well, this is like day one after I don't know how long it had been since we had a day like this. Bev, I can't even remember.
No, it's been forever.
Mm-hmm.
Really has.
Well, like I say, I envy you. I'm in Nashville. It's hot.
Oh, yeah. Well, it kind of felt like all of a sudden I was living someplace in the South, except for it was Maine, and I kept being like, but we live here because we like a certain type of summer weather that is becoming more rare, I guess.
No, I hope for you, and because really 70 and low humidity is just perfect.
It's a dream. My mom is visiting right now, and we took a little stroll in Rockport. There's a farm that's like one of those, farmland trusts, and it's going to be a forever farm, and they raise belted Galloway cows for meat, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful walk, and it's very. Oh, here comes a car. Hold on, let me move. the neighbor. She always just has to say hello as he drives by. So we were just walking under these beautiful old oak trees, and the cows were in a different pasture, but just looking out at the Camden Hills and this like gentle breezes blowing by. It was just like heavenly, just heavenly. Anybody else have some knitting up to update us on, if you feel like it? Yes, Beth.
So I finished the 2 at a time socks that I pulled apart. I do need to block them, but got them done.
Nice.
So I was happy about that. And then I'm plugging away at the other socks. And then I'm also working on this is the t-shirt that I pulled apart to knit in a smaller size. So like I feel like it's going to go faster now that I'm past the increases for the raglan sleeves. So
what's the yarn
is,
you're using for that?
This is, you know what, I have to look for it. It's a tape yarn, and I believe it's cotton, which is why I ended up going down a size, because it grew so much.
Oh,
but
wow.
It's sort of like a thick and thin.
Okay.
Like some of it's like this, like sparkly parts, and some is more like straight up cotton. And I think I got it so long ago. I'll have to dig out, because I try to save the bands from the yarns.
It looked like it had some interesting texture. Yeah.
I think more, yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it goes thick and thin, and then it has these ones. I don't know if you can see, it's sort of like thinner and sparkly. It's hard to describe. So I don't even remember. If I find the band and I look at it, I remember where I got it. Probably out of a sale bin somewhere, and I grabbed up a bunch, not knowing what to do with it, because that's what I often do when I'm yarn shopping. But yeah, so I'm hopeful to get this done and get the other pair of socks done, and then I'm working on the granny squares projects and then I was upstairs, I don't know, trying to straighten up some stuff, and I found this backpack I crocheted. I didn't bring it down with me, but I found this backpack I crocheted, and all I have to do is sew on the end. It's like a string backpack, so sew the ends of the strings onto the bottom of the backpack and then line it. I was like, and literally that project's probably been upstairs for like 3 years or so, with just all that. So, but it's also been really hot here too, and my sewing machine is upstairs on the second floor that's not air conditioned, so I haven't really felt like going up and doing any sewing projects or dragging stuff down. So maybe it's cooled off here, so hopefully I can, because it won't take me long to drop a lining in it. And then my one little granny square top I made for my grannies, I wanted to line the one part of it. So I'm hopeful that this weekend I can just like drop those linings in and then be done with those. Move those projects to the done pile.
Nice. Well, we'd love to see the crocheted backpack. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I'll try to remember the next time to throw it in. Very popular pattern. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but as projects go, and for crochet, it's a pretty popular. It was pretty popular a couple of years back. So.
Well, I think that still counts for finish line, because you are going to finish it up, and
yeah, well, I gotta get the lining in.
Yeah, exactly.
And lining and sew the strings on, and then I'm done.
Yeah, totally. And same goes for your baby sweater, Julia. We're just we're finishing stuff and taking names, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. Great. Anybody else want to check in? Mona, did you figure it out? Wait, you figured out how to put a cool thing on your head? That's awesome. Okay, so that's a win. I call the headpiece a win. Let's like pin you right now just so we can get your headpiece on. Like, so poor Mona is muted, but she figured out how to put a really cool like fascinator headband on using Google Meet. So awesome. But still no unmuting. I'm so sorry. You could always try leaving and coming back in to see if the buttons reappear for you, or just hang out with us. You could always throw stuff into the chat if you want to. Let's see. Teresa, how's your anniversary blanket coming?
It's coming. Let's see.
Ooh, it's beautiful.
Ooh, pretty.
Wow. Very
Oh, that looks beautiful.
So I'm almost at the point where the pattern says to end. But
Okay.
Okay, I have like 2.5 balls of yarn left. So I can either like be done and it can be like a monthly, or I can keep going until I run out of yarn, and it'll be a couple more weeks. So he chose a little bit bigger. So now it's on him.
Great. It's so pretty.
It is.
Love that.
Well, I'm sort of fooling around with some yarn, and I picked up some yarn I bought a long time ago, and then I decided it was too fine, so I just picked up some Morocco silk mohair to try and blend in with it. So we'll have to see what happens.
And wait, what are you making?
I think I'm going to make a cardigan.
Okay.
I'm trying to get the stitch gauge so I can figure out what to do with it. But I like the yarn, but it was a little bit too fine.
Can you show us the yarn? Because we'd love to see.
I bought it in Europe. It's a fine alpaca.
Hmm.
And yeah, so you can see it's pretty fine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, pretty.
Tried to make it into a sweater. It was a little bit too fine, too lightweight. And
Yeah.
so I decided the only thing, because I noticed that Petite Knit frequently uses silk
Yep.
mohair with their patterns. And I thought, well, I'm going to try that. And I finally found, and that's where I was today, I finally found a red that's pretty close.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I have it also in purple, but I'm having a harder time trying to find the purple. So,
Nice.
but
Did you say you had a pattern picked out for a cardigan or no?
there's a couple that I'm looking at. Why, do you recommend one?
Oh, no, I'm just always curious.
Yeah, I just think of something fairly simple.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to pick out one of her Petite Knit's more basic patterns.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yep, she's got some good ones.
I bought a couple patterns and they're pretty complex.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I thought I better put off those projects a little bit, so I'm sort of in a more simple mood right now.
That is totally legitimate. Yep.
Sometimes it can get over the challenging.
Yeah, sometimes you need to mix it up.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing, to keep something simple and then something more complex at the same time.
Well, it was like when Mary Ellen Mulhern had her Christmas socks that were sort of boring for her, but they were, simple. And then she had her Alpine Flowers hat, which was her like concentrated knitting.
Yeah, I think that's because I make a lot of mistakes when I'm trying to do something that's more complicated and watch television at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm sure.
Were you on the
Pardon?
were you on the call the time that I think it was Ginny called it like, the glass, you need to have a glass of wine project, and then you need to have some, you can have something that takes more concentration, but whether it's glass of wine or TV project or whatever your pleasure is, I agree with that sentiment.
I think I'm going to try that because I've enjoyed learning lots of new things with the knit along, but sometimes I don't feel like anything.
Well, and
is-
likewise, the people that will knit the same pattern more than once, I mean, it's so smart because your brain has already done the hard work. Even if, you make it once, you've kind of got the roadmap already. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, you're going to choose different yarn maybe, or maybe make a modification once you've knit it once. But you've kind of got it under your belt, and then it can be a little less of a struggle.
I agree. I just like to move on to the next one.
Mhm.
So are we going to do Socktober again?
Well, we are. We
Good.
definitely are. So that'll be coming up, and I have something in mind for a possible little twist to it. An opportunity, really. But I haven't totally gotten Kristen's input on that yet. So I'm gonna wait and chat with her about what her thoughts are too. And
Any hints?
I mean, the hint will be like, of course we'll all be knitting socks. But there might be an opportunity for sort of those of us who maybe want to do a little mini sock knit along to knit the same pattern. And I've got a pattern in mind for that. So, but like, again, if people just, hey, I've got my vanilla sock and I don't want to, or I got my own sock going on, fine. We're all about that. But I just thought it might be kind of fun to put out there something if people were interested,
Yeah.
We'll see.
To me, I don't know about anybody else.
Socks are just so fun because I just am fascinated by the form. I'm fascinated by the various structural ways that you can create a sock, just all the different methods that are involved, and make the custom socks to fit your feet like Kate Atherley does, or there's endless potential, and they're just so great to wear. And I had a gentleman in the shop, he works on one of the schooners in town, and he I don't think he's himself a knitter, but he must have a lot of knitters who love him, because he said that he had 30 pairs of hand knit socks. And I was like, some people talk about wealth in dollars, but I'm saying that you have a really special kind of wealth, because 30 pairs of hand knit socks, like that's wealth. You got sock wealth, buddy. Mariella Mortola, were you saying something? You're muted.
Yeah, that's phenomenal to have that many pairs of socks.
Also, big man feet, like feet of a man are big. That's a lot of knitting.
That is. I'll show off what I've been making.
Wait, let me pin you. Keep holding it up there. Okay. Nice.
Ooh.
So I'm excited because I'm actually on the last row of the main part. So this is here. That's what I'm making.
Oh.
So I've got the body part of it finished, and now I have to figure out how to do the handle part. But yeah, that's my challenge for 2 weeks from today, to have that finished.
Oh. And what is the name of your pattern, and what's the yarn?
The yarn is a cotton. It's really nice to work with in the summer. It's from Pearl Soho, and it's Pearl Soho Freed pattern called the Kit and Caboodle Tote. Kit and Caboodle Tote.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's just some of their cotton yarn, but actually you could probably use any kind of a cotton kind of yarn, something that would be washable and good for the market.
Is it like a DK or a worsted? It looks a little heavier, maybe.
Just seeing if I got the right paper with it. Yeah, it's got some texture to it. It's sort of not solid, but yeah, it's not. Well, let's see. What site? I'm on maybe like a 9 or 10
Oh,
needle.
perfect. Yeah, yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
So like probably a worsted, I'm guessing.
right. So it has like, one straight knit row, and then you have to do this kind of twisty row to get that effect.
Yep, I love it. That's great.
That's really nice.
And it also looks like it's densely knit enough that you're not going to have to line it, which is nice.
Yeah, I hope not.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it'll be great that way.
Thank you for the tip.
Yeah, I love that. I'll definitely look up that pattern. I'm still working away on my Kate Davies mystery shawl. I'm on my last wedge of clue 3, and clue 4 comes out next week. But with short row wedges at first, like the rows are very long. But I'm still liking the wedges. But tonight what I'm working on is the millstone tweed pullover that I just adore. It feels so good, and it's so soft and yummy. So this is the bottom up, and yeah, and I've got the pattern sort of like in my brain now, so I have my little system, and all right, this is very low tech because I have, of course, the clicker, but the clicker is involved with my mystery knit along. And so maybe this is like I'm the last person to figure this out, but in case I'm not, so what I've got is a 4-round repeat. And what I'm doing to keep track of myself so that I don't have to have the pattern, since the pattern is in my brain, I know what row 1 and 3 and then 2 and 4 are just knit rows. And so what I decided to do at the beginning of my round is I have a, yeah, thank you. Yes, sorry about that.
Those of us with old eyes,
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that. So what I have at the beginning of my round is there's my marker, and then I have the removable stitch markers that I clip on. So right now I have 2 on here, which tells me I'm about to finish my second round, which is just a plain knit row. And then once I start round 3, at the bottom edge of my sweater, I keep my extra one. So I just will take one of these and put it up here and clip it on to this little chain. I mean, there's fancy things, and you can buy the little the little progress markers too, but this was just my low tech solution. And it's so, I sort of feel free. I feel free of too many bits and bobs and papers near me and making check marks. So that was my little low tech tip for the night.
good.
Well, I will say that I just this afternoon uploaded a new podcast on the Goats YouTube channel, and without Kristen to podcast with me, I have been inviting some special guests on the podcast. And like last time, I had Rachel, who's one of our new staff members. She joined us, and then joined me. I say us because I'm so used to thinking of me and Kristen doing the podcast, but it was just me, actually, just the singular. Anyway, and this week I interviewed a woman who is definitely a friend of the Goat and a customer at the Goat, and she's also involved with the Maine Fiber Shed project. And she's awesome. And her name is Pat Harpel. I should repin myself. Sorry. Her name is Pat Harpel. And she is amazing. This is definitely a passion project for her, and we did almost an hour together, and she really sort of went through what is a fiber shed, what is this, what is the goal of having these fiber sheds. So Maine is now an affiliate of the national network of fiber sheds, And also we're affiliated with the Northern New England fiber shed community as well. And really the goal is economic equality for the farmers who are raising the fiber animals, which is super. But also just some incredible ways that we really think about the ecosystem of fiber. And so Pat definitely got into a little bit of the sort of fast fashion component, and when you really like sort of know where you're sourcing your fiber animals from, where they're getting processed, how they're getting processed. And she had some really exciting things that she shared too about the ways that wool can be useful in so many other ways, like in agriculture. Anyway, it was really fun to talk to her, so definitely catch up with that episode if you haven't seen it already. And Mona, I saw a little chat come through. Can't figure out the microphone. If I pin you, okay, cool. You'll show a drop spindle that you made in class with the lathe. Oh yeah, we want to see this. We had our very first goat. Oh my gosh, look at that.
Wow.
Beautiful.
So pretty.
Oh,
Whoa, look how gorgeous that is. Was it like, maybe you can add some details into the chat. Wow, I love that. I was just curious about like the class. Was it like through a yarn store or through like adult ed or? Okay, she's gonna type for us. Oh my gosh, your fascinator is amazing. I'm fascinated by it. And Mary Ellen, that's great. The kitten caboodle tote. I see that in the chat as well. I want to know so many more things about like spinning, and do you have a wheel? But like we can catch up next time when the maybe the microphone thing, we sort that out. Okay, Fiber Festival, Fort Collins, Colorado. It's canary wood. Whoa, it's so pretty. I was about to say we had our first goat spinning group, and we used to have a spinning group at the old goat apparently, there's definitely been some interest. And in the last podcast episode, I was talking to Rachel, who's a spinner, and she has a lot of spindles. And people just kept kind of asking about like, well, what about spinning? Can we come spin at the goat? And that was Tuesday, and it was really cool. And just to see the different fiber people were using. There was one woman who had brought her e-spinner, which is like a little. It was about this size, kind of like about the size of a bread loaf almost. And she just set it on the table, and there was a little electric pedal that she would just like touch with her toe, and it would just whir along. That was sort of very cool. And one person had a drop spindle, and Rachel has different spindles. She does supported spindling a lot, where there's like a cup that the tip of your spindle sits in. And I think this was maybe used in India possibly, but the challenge of a drop spindle, of course, is the weight of it, right? That can make it drop. Supported spindles are pretty neat because you basically give it twist and it has a place to sit, and so it's not going to drop. And so it seems, I don't know, I didn't try it, but it looked really amazing. So it was fun to see. And Rachel had with her lots of different fibers, one of which was made from rose stalks. It's apparently like a vegan silk option, but it was like bright white and super, super soft and very fine. And who knew rose stalk could be a fiber to spin?
That might
Mona
be
says, go ahead.
that might be similar to the nettle stalk that is in this yarn.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and when you work with it, this is combined wool and nettle.
Mm,
And so it's lighter, but it's still fairly warm.
wow.
And it's very soft in my hand. So I always think of the irony of the nettle being really soft.
Right?
I would love to see some rose fiber. My goodness.
Oh my gosh, I wish I could. Yeah, the it was so amazing and so apparently so, I mean, it's so fine. And she had it. It was so sweet. It was in a little basket, but in the basket she had made like a little hammock of like a little handkerchief so the fiber could sit in the cotton because the basket wasn't lined or whatever. So it was just adorably charming. I looked in it, I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I seeing? It's so cute. So we'll see if the spinning community steps up, but it was definitely nice to see some of our knitters who also are spinners too. Yeah, Mona, wheels can be very expensive, but I know that a lot of fiber festivals often will have like a used equipment sale, which is where some people go looking for used wheels at a less expensive price. Somebody one of my friends just texted me. Do you all know the Fruity Knitting podcast?
Yeah.
Some of you do. So I catch up with them every now and then, and they're fun because there's a lot of times they're doing they do interviews with designers, which are really fun to watch. And it's now a mother-daughter team. Originally it was a husband-wife team, and unfortunately the husband passed away, and that was really super sad. But mom and daughter still are podcasting, and I just really enjoy watching them. And they're always like, well, I'm knitting this sweater, but like, here are the 500 modifications that I've made to it because I didn't want this part, didn't want that part. Like every single time it's like, well, I'm knitting this, and let me tell you, which is kind of fun. And they are hosting a series of fiber retreats in Costa Rica this February. Oh my God. I was just having a little lark, like imagining being able to go on something like that, but really just looked like a lot of fun. And I think there is a designer who's going to be joining them. And I was just kind of browsing some of the offerings. There's going to be like sashiko and then some interesting construction techniques with the hosts of the podcast. So anyway, that was just a fun little browse. I'll drop it in the links below just so we can drool a little bit. Anybody out there a gardener?
Sort of.
I sort of feel like I'm a sort of. I grow some stuff, and I think gardener's a little bit of a too strong a word. But I have been really keeping an eye on my monarch caterpillars. We've definitely got a few in the garden. I've got some regular milkweed that grows in this one sort of wild pollinator area of my garden. And unfortunately, the milkweed there was really heavily infested with ants. And I was like kind of worried that they were eating all of the monarch eggs. But the good news is over at a different garden, I have a different breed of milkweed that's called swamp milkweed. And I found like 3 caterpillars on that. And it's kind of distant from the ones that seem so overrun with the ants. And then, yeah, so I saw like 3 monarch butterflies yesterday, and they were just like, it looked like a Disney movie. They were just together. They were just twiddling around. So hooray, monarchs. Teresa, did I see that you gave sort of a nod to gardening as well?
On a little bit of a hiatus this year because we're kind of in the process of moving, but very slowly because we're like remodeling our new house. But decided to take it easy on the gardening this year. But we do have some tomatoes growing, and then some volunteer cantaloupe and watermelons that the compost bin evidently did not get hot enough and kill the seeds. So we've got a bunch of those growing.
Love a volunteer. That's great.
Unfortunately, we had this like huge cantaloupe growing, but my husband said this morning that a critter stole it and hollowed it out. So, but we didn't plan it intentionally anyway. So,
like easy come, easy go. Nice.
Iris, I think it would be great if you did a sock knit along during Socktober. I've never knit socks. So people talk about turning the heel, and I immediately need Tylenol. So I would love to do something like that.
Yeah. And because I know like with your vision, there's some great yarns that are not like tiny fingering weight yarns. You could like work on, especially for your first pair. Sometimes I think it's really nice to do a pair of like, boot socks or something in like a worsted weight or a DK weight. And that way it's going to go a little quicker and, be easier with vision, of course, too. But yeah, it's definitely, yeah, I think it would be really fun. And what I want to figure out is if I can, yeah, I've got a couple ideas because, whether I could concurrently sort of run a vanilla, like do a vanilla, find the right vanilla level sock that would be great for a beginner. I know that, that there's a free pattern for that Summerly has, that's like a basic beginner pattern, but I'm guessing it's probably fingering weight because it's more of Summer's jam. But I think that's a good idea. I'm gonna write that down.
I like well padded socks, and I have very big feet. So.
All right, that's good. Well, Jennifer, you just hopped in at we're almost done here, but here you are, better late than never. Nice to see you. Oh, you're a little muted right now.
Sorry, I'm so late, but I just wanted to join for the last couple minutes. I totally spaced, and so I forgot. And then I've got someplace I have to go now too. But I wanted to see how many folks were there and how many people are finishing stuff. And I'm excited to keep going finishing things. It's a really good concentrated effort for me because I have many, 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 many unfinished objects in my home.
Yeah, so do you want to just show us what you got finished or what you're working on?
Well, I had finished the cowl, that Coastland Cowl, and I finished my Sea Haven, which was in the newsletter. I'm working on my Shudik Bay, and I don't have it in this room, so I won't run and get it. It's in the next room. But I'm a glutton for punishment because I am casting on my framed.
Mhm.
Wow.
It's
The Andrea Mowry.
Yes, the
Yeah.
Andrea Mowry Rhinebeck sweater. So I am doing mine in a dark green for the ribbing and the shoulders, a marled, and then a solid pumpkin color for the body. And I'm excited. But I was getting really frustrated with myself with my tubular cast on, but I'm really pleased with how this one's looking now.
Oh,
If you
cool.
can see it. I used the instructions from the book Cast On, Bind Off, and I found that the method used is just super simple compared to the other ways I've done it before. And watching the YouTubes, my head just started to hurt. So the Cast On, Bind Off book, I can't remember the author's name. I think they sell it at the Goat, but it's not in stock this week because I looked for it, but a friend let me borrow hers, and I'm doing that for the cast on, because all you do is a regular long tail cast on, and then you just half the number of stitches, you just purl the next row, purl, knit, and then they tell you how to like pull up it's just super simple. You'd have to look at the book. I'm probably not going to do a good job of explaining it, but
That's exactly the method that actually made my brain stop spinning with the tubular cast on. And I saw it in a pattern, and it was like written on somebody's blog. And so I had never seen it anywhere else. So it's really good to know, because I was like, I want to do a tutorial, but if this somehow was like this person, yeah, so I will look that up. But yeah, it absolutely made sense to me for the first time.
yeah. And I think it's pages 120 and 121 in the cast.
Would you bring that book in if you come to the finish along in the next couple of weeks, so I can, or did it already get lent back to your person?
Already back to my person, but
okay, that's okay.
I have a copy of that page, which
Ooh.
I'm going to share with you. And I know I'm going to get an email when it comes back into the store, because I want to myself. But yeah, you do a long tail cast on or whatever cast on you want. And what I have learned is that your waste yarn matters.
Mm-hmm.
The waste yarn really matters, because if you don't use enough of a contrasting color, that's kind of an obvious no. But in addition to that, I find that using a thinner weight yarn, in a super contrasting color, works best for me, because you have to go back and pick up, and you can't see. I've already done that end of it. But when you're working it to pick up, you really need it to have that color there, so you can see all those little green nibs between the pink. That's what I'm going to pick up and pull up over my needle, so that I'll be knitting those stitches, and then I'll purl from the line. And when you guys look at this stuff, it'll make sense. You'll be like, oh yeah, that crazy lady, that's what she meant. But yeah, so
I really need to make this tutorial, because like we all need a better way to do a tubular cast on.
So easy, because just long tail cast on with your contrasting yarn, and I think a thinner weight makes it easier. And then purl the next row, knit the next row, purl the next row, knit. So you purl, knit, and then you do the funky stuff. But it's not bad at all. It's so easy. I'm like, I probably don't even need the book now. But
Nice.
It's so much, and I'm like, wow, this is looking so pretty. Like, look at how nice that looks.
That's
I
awesome.
didn't cut the darn off yet, but I'm confident it's going to be fine. And it only took me like 2 tries this time. You know,
That's awesome.
those of you that have known me for a while, I might take probably 3 to 4 attempts is my typical beginning start. You know, after swatching, because I knit late at night and then I fall asleep and then it all falls off the needles. So you are not alone. I do it almost every evening. So these guys are my friends. Because as soon as I stop, I try to remember to put them on so that if it falls down in my lap, you know, it won't be horrible. But I didn't mean to jump in and like take over the meeting.
No,
How
no,
many
this is
people
good.
finish stuff?
Geez, thank you. Anything that makes certain things simpler is enjoyable.
Yeah, we love hearing tips. No, we had some finished items. For sure. We also it's 6, a little after 6, so if people need to hop off, that's fine. And Jennifer, you might have to catch up on the recording. But yeah, nice to see everybody. So good to see everybody. And Mona, maybe we can troubleshoot over the email with your muting. And it seemed like there could be something, maybe your mic needed to be, so maybe like try shutting off your computer, and we'll hope for the best. But thank you everybody for coming. And those of you that have some finished items, don't forget to send me some photos and some of what you want to be entered to win for your finish along prizes. So yeah, we'll see you in a couple weeks. And in the meantime, have fun finishing, because you guys are rocking this thing.
It's fun. It's really fun. Very helpful.
Yeah. Oh, nice to see everybody. Thanks for being here.
Definitely. Thank
Take
you.
care. Good to see you all.